Okay, Joe, what is one of your favorite things that we did for devotions?
I really liked watching these videos on intelligent design because it used science to explain why there is a God and how nothing could have happened unless there was a God. Like chance couldn't happen because of these numbers. There's no way it could have had gotten there by chance. I've watched all of them except Darwin's Dilemma, but Mystery of Life explains how we were created beings, not just like random chance or evolution. The Privileged Planet, I believe, was on creation itself. There's also another one, I believe, in this, well, not series, but it's about the ocean and how it uses the ocean to explain that there is a designer out there. I really liked this.
Sounds good, thanks. Okay, Michaela, what was your favorite thing that we did for devotions in junior high and high school?
Yeah, so we would listen to things on the way to school once me and David were in like co-ops and stuff. So one thing we did on the way to school, it was like a 30-45 minute drive. We listened to the Screw Tape Letters, and I honestly had no clue what was being said while it was on because it's really confusing. But what I did learn was like the structure of it. And then this past year in college when I read it, I already understood the structure, so I was actually able to learn a lot from the book, whereas like some of my friends were a little bit slower to understanding what was going on because they didn't already have a preface of the structure. So it was really helpful, and I really enjoyed reading Screw Tape this past year because of that. So
Thank you. Hi friends, welcome to Mom Minutes. Today I'd like to give you some ideas about how to have devotions with your teenagers. So I have 4 teenagers in my home right now, ages 13 to almost 16, and there's just so many interesting things that you can do with them. I really want to try to do 4 things with them. First of all, I'd really like to inspire them by true stories. So I've mentioned these books before. These are so great at any age, but my teenagers still love to read these books. And so the first one is Brother Andrew, and this is a great read. It is so exciting. It's about him going through the Iron Curtain and telling people about Jesus. And he is actually still alive, so it was really fun to look him up and look at the ministry that he has today, which is called Open Doors Ministry. And also we've talked about C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis, that story was awesome. And it's important for them to know his story because pretty soon they're going to be able to read books that were written by C.S. Lewis. So it helps them know, where he was coming from and that he did not grow up a believer but became a believer later in his life. So this was also a great read. Another book that we really enjoyed in this series was called Charles Mully, and we just finished that this year also. And I think I've loaned my copy out maybe to one of my kids, my older kids, but it's a great story also. It's about a Kenyan orphan who grew up, and he actually became a very successful businessman in Kenya. And then God got a hold of his heart, became a believer, and he basically left everything that he had to start a children's home for orphan kids in Kenya, especially Nairobi. So his ministry is ongoing today. You can actually take mission trips to go visit it. You can support it. You can actually get, sponsor a child through his ministry. So we chose to do that. The kids chose to do that after reading his story. And so it's just been really fun to do some present day missionaries that have inspired them. The second thing I really want them to do is to know what they believe and why they believe it. So I mentioned this book before in last week's video, but this is Who is God? And it's just a great beginning of a worldview for kids. So again, you can use this in later elementary grades, but also early junior high would be good too. It's just good foundational truth that makes sense. Also, we've done the videos, creation videos, which are really great. I think Johanna was talking about this one. So this has been awesome. And we're getting ready to, in the fall, to start the Truth Project by Focus on the Family. So I am so excited about this. I've wanted to do this for a couple of years, and I think, it's time now. And so I'm really excited to start this and with my own kids, and then maybe see, how God leads, what he wants us to do with this after that. So another thing that I don't have with me, but it is on Ventures in Odyssey, is called the Truth Chronicles. And the Truth Chronicles is like a worldview message for kids, and it's really easy to understand, but it's really great. We've been listening to it today, and I'd forgotten really how good it is. So the Truth Chronicles on Odyssey would probably be anywhere from like later elementary to junior high. So I think that they would get something out of that. Another thing I want them to do is to be able to defend their faith. So we are so lucky at our church to have a gentleman that taught a Sunday school class in the youth group, and he was teaching them out of this book, God's Crime Scene. And so every week they would have a chapter or two to read, and it really kept us hopping to try to keep up with him. So it's a great book, though. The kids enjoyed it, and it's something I think that they would come back to time and time again, just to look through it and refresh what they learned, and to remember what they learned. So this was a great read and a great study, and we really appreciate Sam Faisal doing that at our church. The last thing that I really want to do is to nurture their own relationship with the Lord. And so just kind of tailoring that to each kid, what they're interested in, kind of what their bent is. We've used some of Sadie Robinson's books. I think we have 2 of them. We might have 3 now. But she's great. I listened to her on a podcast and was just really encouraged with her testimony and just her desire to live for the Lord unashamedly. So really liked this. And this summer we have been doing Bible study with our kids like separately. So like I'll take the girls and Phil will take Joseph. And the girls and I have been using this book called Girl Defined. And it is a great book. It talks about biblical femininity, and it's by 2 girls that have a blog, and so the girls can go and read that if they want to. But this book is just really great. It has short chapters. They can read it probably in like 30 minutes, and then it has like 4 questions to answer, and really they're just questions to start a conversation. And so usually what this looks like is on Monday nights, we all pile into the car, me and the girls pile into the car, and we decide if we're going to go to Starbucks or Chick-fil-A or Dairy Queen, and we do the drive-through, and we sit in the car with our drinks or whatever we got, and we talk about this book. And I know that sounds kind of funny that we sit in the car, but I found that they really open up and share much more when they don't have to worry about who is seeing them and who's watching them. So I'm starting where they're at. I'm starting where they're comfortable, and we have had some great conversations, and I am just shocked about how open they are and how much they really want to talk about what they wrote down for their questions. So we've really had a good time doing this, and we've enjoyed it much more than I thought we would. So Phil and Joseph are doing this book, which is The Young Man in the Mirror, and they just started a couple weeks ago, but I think that's going, well too. So my encouragement to you is to just pick something and start, and then you can go from there. But pick a book and start, a book to read to the kids, that's an easy thing, or a video to watch, or Truth Chronicles from Focus on the Family on Adventures in Odyssey. There's just so many good resources out there. So just pick one and start. And if it doesn't go as well as you thought, ask your kids, what did you like? What did you not like about that study? And go from there. Let them help you pick. So the important thing is just to do it. So I hope you guys have a great week. And if you have any ideas about resources, please put them in the comments below. Have a good week.